Once upon a time, in the heart of a mist-covered valley, there stood a majestic castle carved from ancient stone. Within its high towers and velvet halls lived King Idris,
a wise and generous ruler.
loved by his people, feared by his enemies. His kingdom was prosperous, his soldiers loyal, and his name sung in ballads from the mountains to the sea. Yet, despite his wealth, power, and respect, King Idris carried a hidden burden. He could not sleep. Each night, as the stars blinked gently above his kingdom, Idris would lie awake, staring at the silk canopy above his bed. The fire would crackle, the wind would whisper past the windows, but sleep never came. Days turned to weeks, weeks into months. The finest healers from across the land tried to help him. With herbs, charms,
Even music. But nothing worked.
One night, as a cold fog crept through the castle, Idris stood alone on the balcony, watching his people's homes light up with warmth. He whispered to himself, "What is the point of ruling a peaceful kingdom if my mind knows no peace?" Just then, the guard announced a visitor. "A traveler, Your Majesty. Says he has no name, only a message." The king allowed him in. A man in a dark robe entered, barefoot, eyes calm. He bowed low and said only this: "You have a king's crown, but not a peasant's rest. Tonight, your dream waits by the old olive tree." Then he vanished. No one saw him leave. That night, Idris walked alone to the olive tree beyond the castle walls. The oldest tree in the valley. He sat beneath it, closed his eyes, and for the first time in years, he fell asleep. But what he saw in that dream would change the fate of his kingdom forever. In his dream, King Idris found himself not as a ruler, but as a barefoot man in a small village. The sky above him was the same golden blue that used to stretch over his childhood home. He carried no sword, no crown, just a simple loaf of bread in his hand, still warm from the oven. He wandered the dream village, noticing how every person he passed smiled and nodded with gentle familiarity. Children laughed and ran through the dusty lanes. The old baker waved from his little shop, and even the stray cat brushed softly against his leg. But the most curious thing of all, no one called him Your Majesty. He was just Idris, and for the first time, he didn't mind. He sat beside a well in the center of the village, and beside him sat a little boy with big eyes and a quiet presence. The boy didn't speak at first. He only looked up and asked, "Why do you look so tired?" Idris smiled sadly. "Because I have forgotten how to rest." The boy held out a small wooden toy, a horse carved by hand. "Maybe you need to remember what life felt like before the crown." Suddenly, a bell echoed through the village, soft and distant, like it came from another world.